Welcome back to the Disturbed Chronicles. My name's Cams, and as always, I'm glad you're here because today's video, we're going to talk about a case that's actually still ongoing and happened earlier this month. Today, we're going to talk about the case of Keimani Latigue and Darnell Jones. For those of you who don't know, Keimani Latigue was a 13-year-old girl from Ohio who was reported missing by a family member on March 18th. She was last seen on March 16th, and Keimani's father, Darnell Jones, is being charged with kidnapping, felony assault, and the death of his daughter, Keimani. The father is apparently the last person to see his daughter, Keimani, after removing her from her grandmother's home without consent. Reports say that Darnell received a phone call from Keimani on the 16th of March. She said she was home alone and she was scared, and somebody was trying to break into the house. Now, several articles have stated that Darnell was the one actually trying to break into the house. Reports say that Darnell was questioned about the whereabouts of his daughter, Keimani, and he gave inconsistent statements on her location. Keimani's missing person investigation started on March 23rd, and a warrant for abduction was also issued for Darnell. On March 24th, Keimani's body was discovered inside of an abandoned house, and Keimani had several lacerations to her throat, and her autopsy stated this is ultimately the cause of her death, and it was also ruled a homicide. Several reports have stated that Keimani was sexually assaulted, but I have no evidence to support this statement. But I do have a clip I'd like to show you guys of an officer speaking with news reporters about discovering Keimani's body.
This case is one of the most horrific cases I ever heard. This is a 14-year-old that was murdered, raped, had her hands cut off, and her throat almost cut off. This is an absolute animal that came into our town.
I couldn't find anything that backs this police officer's story, and the officer is actually facing backlash from reporting how Keimani's body was found. And this is because the family didn't know of Keimani's body being found yet. And I'm not sure if what he said in this interview is true or not, but I personally believe that this cop was very worked up about this situation, which is why he was so quick to explain. I did find an article that stated there were several reports of the care that Keimani was receiving while living with her grandmother. The most recent report was on March 21st, 2024. Child Services said that they had interviewed Keimani alone, and they found no indication that would lead them to removing her from her home. However, proper care and discipline was instructed to Keimani's grandmother.
The prosecutor did, however, approve the release of some limited information. Lucas County Children's Services went over her case history with the agency while in the care of her grandmother. There was one entry in December of 2023 and two reports in March of 2024. All were investigated by Lucas County Children's Services, including talking to Keimani alone, and they say no evidence was found that would have led them to take her from the home.
Dorothy, Keimani's grandmother, actually had a statement herself, and this is what she had to say.
So the police, the detective said that she would have a unit come out and help me get my things and more or less escort me off the property. I asked to be handcuffed just so they can get the away from my property.
Are you scared?
So no, I was never arrested. I was taken downtown, but I was never arrested.
Are you scared for your safety right now?
I am.
What are some of the things that you've been hearing and receiving from people?
They said they was gonna blow up my house. They said they was gonna do harm to me.
Maybe she is scared for her life, and she doesn't really seem too concerned about the tragic loss of her granddaughter. But hey, I guess everybody mourns in their own way, right? Friends and family gathered for a candlelit visual where Keimani's body was found on March 25th, and some of her classmates described Keimani as always nice. Even when people weren't so nice to her, she always met them with kindness. Keimani's 14th birthday just passed on Friday, March 28th, but she will forever be 13. Now, the police have charged Darnell with the murder and put out a bolo for him. SWAT in Toledo, Ohio tracked down Darnell after his girlfriend reported his location. When the police confronted Darnell, apparently he had a gun hidden inside of his hoodie, and he seemed generally calm when speaking to law enforcement, but Darnell wouldn't remove his hands from his pockets. And the video actually shows him firing a shot from underneath of his hoodie, and the officer, of course, returned fire. Darnell told the officer who shot him, "I just want to die." And I have a short clip of this scene, but I have to warn you guys, it could be a little bit of a trigger for some of you.
All right. You got cuffs? I got cuffs. There you go. Thank you, brother. We'll get you help, okay? I just want to die, bro. No, I know, but we can't allow that. All right. I don't want to.
No officers were injured, and Darnell was taken to the hospital where he is set to make a full recovery. Darnell is now in custody and is set for arraignment on Wednesday. Because this case is so new, we don't know all the little details that I usually give you guys. In court cases like this usually take a while for the ultimate conviction, so we'll probably have to come back to this story in the future. Theoretically, we know that Darnell is guilty, but we don't know what his motive was, and for him to do such a brutal thing to his own flesh and blood. I don't have 100% proof that any of this is true, but there are tons of articles providing information, and some of it probably just isn't true, you guys. Eventually we will have some more concrete proof, and maybe I'll make another follow-up video after Darnell's conviction and trial. Let's all pray for justice for Keimani, and may she rest in peace. This is the first black man or woman that I've featured on my channel, and for any of you who are wondering why, it's because 82% of American serial killers were white, 15% were black, and 2.5% were Hispanic. So that's a huge difference between percentages and races, and white people have far surpassed any other race, which is absolutely nuts. About 66% of released prisoners are rearrested within 3 years, and 82% are rearrested within 10 years of release, indicating a high reoffense rate in the United States. Something needs to be done about this because I think the punishment needs to be harsher. I believe a lot of people will do things like this because they aren't afraid of the repercussions that they're going to face. And we don't want anybody else like this on the street. Sometimes you just don't deserve a second chance, especially when you can do such foul, disturbing things to your own family. So that's what I got for you guys today. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed or shown my channel any love. I appreciate you guys more than you know. And if you guys like this video, be sure to drop a like, comment, tell me what you think. And don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully I'll see you guys on the next disturbing video.